Okay, today Uncle's gonna talk to you about some weapons. I know he said he wasn't gonna go over weapons and stuff like that, but he's running out of content, right? So you figure might as well, okay? He had to recover a couple of days because harnessing the dragon using pain was pretty painful. You need to recover. But anyway, so here we go. Okay, so one of the things about weapons you have to understand is you have to know your weapon really well. Okay, so if you can use anything as a weapon, right? You can use like a back scratcher as a weapon. Let me show you an example. Okay, yeah, a back scratcher. Okay, so a back scratcher can be used as a weapon. How can it be used as a weapon? Look, well, it's not that strong. If you swing at somebody like that, it's not gonna hurt them that much, right? Right? And you're right. It's because the swinging disperses the energy, and it's already a very light item, so it's not going to do very much damage. Just like the bamboo sticks or the bamboo batons, right? That we use the sticks and stuff like that. Okay, but one of the things about it is, how are you going to use it? Are you going to use it as a poking device, or are you going to use it as kind of like a slashing or whacking device like this? Okay, so if you were to use it as a poking device like this, all of a sudden you have the ability of like the alignment playing a major role, because what happens is this is supported all the way throughout by its entire, I guess metal they call it tang, but its entire structure right here. Okay, so when I grab here, and so long as I have it reinforced and I push at a softer point, it's going to dig deeper. Okay, so that's one of the advantages of having this. Just like using like a chopstick. A chopstick is not that lethal, right? You're just like a chopstick. I'm gonna hit you on my chopstick. But in reality, if you start using it as like a poking device or stabbing device, all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more lethal. Okay, same thing with an umbrella, right? You may use an umbrella and you'll be like, whacking the umbrella like that, blocking with the umbrella, but you can also like hit with the umbrella like that, right? And if you hit the nose, hit the eye, hit the neck, solar plexus, underneath the arms, the guys in the groin area, whatever, like that, back of the head, whatever. You might be able to do some damage. It's not going to do a lot of damage, but the whole intent of the weapon you have is, are you going to use range? Do you want to use range, or do you want to use the structure of it, the power to be able to do damage? Now you get the other kind of weapons, right? Which is like basically like kind of like either like a non-chopper-ish, right? You have a non-chopper, right? So like this, right? Like a non-chopper. I'm gonna whack you like this, right? My non-chopper, right? Right? Or you can use it like a whip, which is like that, right? Like the belt, right? The using the tip velocity, coming up, doing this, that kind of stuff, whacking the opponent with this. The problem with this is, you see how slow it is. It's so slow, right? It's so slow. So even though you use it like that and you're trying to keep it away from somebody just uses a staff and they go like that and they take it away from you. Okay? So one of the values of this is that, yeah, you get some range, and if the individuals are not that well skilled, then basically they're going to be like, oh, I better stay away, I might get hit. But in reality, that even if they get hit, they're not going to get that much damage, right? So like, and if you're talking about like guys who know boxing, boxers, they live for that kind of stuff, because a boxer will trade off, your strike for his strike, right? Because he'll come in and he'll like power through you, and you're going to be like, and he's going to like, bam, right? And his one hit is going to take you down, versus maybe like your strike will not. Okay, so you got to realize that too, right? Power plays a role. Okay, but anyway, I really didn't want to go into weapons that much. I just want to show you folks that understand your weapons, right? Understand that what are you using it for? Be able to like grab anything. I would say go practice. Okay, you can use the typical weapon that's made as a weapon. The sword, blade, slashing knife, staff, spear, whip, whatever. Okay, but maybe you want to do something like use a cup, right? Like use a cup, right? hit somebody in the eye like this, or hit somebody in the eye like this, hit him in the nose, whack him on the side of the head like this. The problem with this is that there's a threshold that this is going to break too. Okay, so you got to know how to hold it. And if you pick up something that's too heavy for you to manipulate, it's not going to be that effective for you. Especially if you're like a woman, right? So like a woman, and I shouldn't say woman, that's like sex. A weaker individual, whether you be a child, whether it be a weaker man or a woman or a girl or whatever, okay? You have to pick up something that you can control and you can use. If you can throw it, that's good. You got the range, whatever, but once you throw it, it's gone, right? You want something that's going to a little bit equalize it, because like power is equal to mass times acceleration, right? So you want that mass. You want something heavy, but you want something that you can control and manipulate so you can be accurate with the hit, okay? So what you want to do, maybe go around your house, look around, like what can you use as a weapon? That way if somebody comes into your house, you can use that as a weapon. You don't have to go to the kitchen, to the drawers and pick out a knife, You can use the umbrella that's right there. You can use like a heavy shoe. Probably not a heavy shoe, it's kind of a little bit too light. You can use like a shelf. You can use like a cup, a ceramic cup, okay? If you can't use the ceramic cup as kind of like a heavy device to hit, use the sharpness, the edges of the cup to be able to do damage, okay? Then you want to look at how you're going to use it. You're going to use range, or you're going to use it as like a range, whether you're going to throw it, or whether you want to gain a range to keep them away. But also understand what's your intent, because if all you're going to do is just keep them away for somebody long enough for somebody to come and help you, then that's fine. But if no one's going to come, at some point or another, they're going to realize that they can't get hurt by whatever you're using to defend yourself with. So you better choose your weapons wisely and understand the strength and weakness of each weapon, okay? Whip, you get the range, light, but you know what? Slow, right? Like a spike, okay? You can't really whack with it, right? So there's not very much range, but you can stab with it, and that's the strength, right? Being able to stab, okay? Blade, being able to cut with it, sharp, not bad, but it's not that heavy. Usually it's not that heavy. I mean, sure, you could have an axe, you could have like this huge machete, that's fine, okay? Staff, spear, you get the range, okay? You get the range, but up close, unless you know what you're doing, you got to choke it up to use it, right? So you better like figure out what can you use as a weapon that you can improvise. A chair is good. If you watch the Kung Fu movies, right, they even sell like the Kung Fu chair, right? But in reality, all it is like a small improvised device that you can pick up, slight enough to pick up, wide enough for you to block with, right? And small enough or with enough handholds so that you can maneuver with, okay? Find something like that in your house. Maybe it's like a pot. Maybe it's like a frying pan. Maybe it's like a vase, or maybe it's like a pitcher, right? Pitcher like a pitcher to pour water. Okay. So in your house, find those little things that you can use as like a defense item, or as a tool for you to help you defend yourself. Okay. So I really didn't want to go into weapons and stuff like that, but I figured, what the hell, I might as well, right? I mean, since we are talking about all these other things, and throughout like this conversation that we're having, maybe you'll catch bits and pieces of knowledge that you can apply to whatever you do already. Okay, so good luck on that.